Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another exit interview. We are here with the winner, fifth placer, Karen. Excited to have you here, but a little premature than the last time we saw you.
I know. I was supposed to be DCP Sandra.
I know, exactly. We were all hoping for it. And I am also joined with one of my co-hosts, Alex Trias. He's in the building, and as always, Lilly Petzold.
Hello, hello. Yeah, so I guess just to really start it off, you get to the virtual island, and when you get on your tribe, you realize you are the only winner on your tribe. Does this change how you're gonna go through the game, or no? Are you just gonna play as if everybody's on the same playing field?
I mean, I didn't expect there to be a bunch of other winners because I mean, it's not like there's enough seasons in the books to have a winners at war or anything. So I knew I would be in a minority in that sense, but I just I tried to downplay the season that I won, like, oh, it was just the first season, and I knew most of the cast. We were friends, so like that's why I won. It's like not a big deal.
I don't
But
know. Navigating a bunch of people that you know is, I feel like a big deal, but
well, I didn't want them to know
I
that.
know.
So,
Lily, you muted.
Sorry. Well, it seems to work, as I was saying. But we do see you win the first challenge, which is an immunity challenge. Do you think that winning this first challenge prevented your name from being out in front of people's minds? And that's why we see Austin go, and then it becomes obvious for Lydia to be the next and not you or somebody else?
yeah, so I didn't plan on winning that challenge. I thought that maybe I would try to like throw it. But I couldn't resist because I was feeling like I could do it, but although I wasn't expecting it. So I decided to just go for it and try just to make sure I was not the first one out. Um, so there are kind of two sides to that. I already knew I would have a target on me just for being a winner. Um, and I think if I don't know how active other players are in the community, but I play other games. So
Yeah.
and we are joined now by Claudia.
Claudia, it wouldn't be a Karen exit without a cat.
So yeah, I perform well in challenges and other games too, typically. So if people knew that, then I don't know. I felt like the target was pretty big for that, especially with challenges. So I wasn't sure if winning that first challenge was a good thing or not. Looking back, I think it was a good thing because the first round I don't know how much of it was me or how much of it was just the rest of the tribe was completely uninterested in talking to me or working with me. Because usually in games that I play, at least half of the people will reach out and make an effort, but this was like crickets, and I was only getting anything from Lydia and Andrew.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like part of that issue was because you were safe. It was sort of like in their mind, they're like, well, she's not part of the situation.
Sort of.
So like you're a vote. You're like in that part they all dropped the ball on, but it was like in their mind, like they're so focused on who is it going to be if it's not going to be me, and like you're already out of the equation by winning that immunity. I don't think you ultimately would have needed it. Just based off of like what we hear some of the other players say, like Simmons like sees that you're doing well in comms, he's like, well, that's another person that is like on my level in a sense. It's like there's other people, it's not just me out in the forefront, easy to get picked off. Having you around benefits other bigger players.
yeah, and looking back, I think it was a good thing that I did win that first challenge because we were losing. Getting rid of me at that point just wouldn't have been a good idea for the tribe, because I don't think anybody was confident enough in their position socially to risk just losing. So I think it did help me, especially when it came down to the Lydia vote. I know there were some people who felt strongly about it being Lydia, but had I maybe performed poorly in that challenge, maybe it would have been me.
Before we get too deep into the game, I want to know your initial thoughts on seeing fellow Yasawa Islands castaways Corey and Jeremy and Austin M in the game. What were your thoughts?
So I was excited, but a little concerned about Corey, because I think Corey's fun. But he's a little devious. So and just because we're friends outside of the game doesn't mean, we're gonna go to the end together, as you saw in Yasawa. He would just be that would have been difficult, I think, to navigate. And honestly, with regards to Jeremy and Austin, I didn't really feel one way or the other about it, because it's not like I've talked to Jeremy or Austin since Yasawa. So I wouldn't even say that I really know them. Like, sure, we played together, but I don't know.
Well, and then you see other IRL friends of Ashley and Kylie, who have also played DCP games, just not with you. What were your thoughts on seeing them?
I was excited about them because I felt that they would be more loyal players and less devious, I should say. Although I wasn't sure how it would go had we been able to go like super far in the game together. And hiding the relationships, I don't think was really going to work that much. Apparently people didn't really know about the Kylie relationship though, which was great. But people knew about the Ashley relationship and the Corey one. Apparently Corey blabbed a lot about that.
Were you surprised watching back, now that we're talking about relationships, just, you navigated the in real life relationship, saying, if you need to do it with Ashley and Kylie, you can do it. I just let me know. I might not vote that way out of respect. Did you fear at any point during the game that maybe that was going to be their approach if your name came out, that they would be like, you know what, if it's going to happen, just let me know. I might not be a part of it.
I think in the mini portion, yeah. I mean, there's not really much you can do if there's a strong force heading in a certain direction, because there's just not time. So, I mean, I definitely didn't want Kylie or Ashley to go out, but I still can't think of anything I could have done about that. So it is what it is. I think the more difficult thing would have been had we been more successful in the mini portion and Kylie and Ashley were a part of the final 6 and final 5. That's where I'm not sure what would have happened, because as we see, Ashley wasn't too keen on going to the end with me. And I don't know if Kylie was or not. I feel maybe she would have been more likely to go to the end with me than others. But I guess you don't know for sure, because you don't know how the dynamics of the game are at that point. Like, if I'm still the absolute biggest threat, like, just because I'm your friend doesn't mean that you don't vote me out.
For sure. And you mentioned earlier that, you weren't close with Austin, but we see the Austin swap. Does this change your foothold in the tribe, or is it still not getting a lot, just trying to make it?
I worked hard after the first vote, after Austin Garsow. Yeah, so even if you don't see much of it in the episodes, I was working very hard to just build relationships with people that were game related relationships, because we hear sometimes, okay, so maybe people said about Austin Moorhead that he was talking to everybody, but he wasn't talking game, and that's why they got rid of him. So I was trying really hard to build relationships with specific people, Simmons specifically, because I felt that he had the most sway with the groupings on the tribe at that point. So I needed him to view me as an asset to his game, and I feel I was successful in that. And like, sure, you can say that was all Simmons' decision, but I made myself palatable to him. So
no, I agree entirely, and it's why I don't think we intentionally did this in the terms of the setup completely, but like we put you legitimately on an island by yourself, like fully detached from any real connection, and the sea, and like even when you were on the minority side of the votes in the beginning, it never truly felt like you were in like legitimate danger because of that work you were putting in past the Garso vote. Like you had Andrew as like a big champion for you because of the way that you worked on that relationship. You had Simmons realizing the benefit of having you in the game as an ally instead of an opposition. So like now you have all these things coming around, and then we get to that Danny vote, and that like really flips your game back into like, I'm no longer on like my back foot. Now I can sort of cruise a little more. I can be a little comfortable on behind the wheel.
And that was just, I think that was one of the best nights I've ever had in a game, when we voted out Danny and then won immunity right afterwards. Like I went to bed so happy that night, and I was thinking, this is why I play these games. Wow, like what a turnaround. Because at the Lydia vote, I was feeling that the direction was going towards her, but I knew that I was also an option. And I think that my challenge performance saved me there, because I still didn't have quite enough time to build. I mean, relationships take some time and some work. So while I was putting in the work, they weren't quite fully there yet. So it really helped to have somebody else on the chopping block other than me, to give me time to get my footing. So by the time we got to that Danny vote, I was like, finally. And I knew I probably wasn't at the top of the hierarchy there, or anything, but it didn't matter because I was no longer on the bottom. There were still other options other than me. So in the event that we kept losing, but I still knew that a tribe swap would be probably beneficial to me.
There's one pre-merge challenge I want to touch on, and that's your champion challenge, where you almost decimate the entire other tribe. You go 2 rounds and then lose it in the third. Alex and I know that you've done this once before. How was it like reliving that and like being put in basically the exact same situation you were in a different game?
It's kind of two-sided. Like it's cool to, be the MVP of something, because that normally doesn't happen for me. But then there's the also, oh, people are seeing this from me, so that's not helping with the threat level. But at the same time, I was in a position where I felt like winning was very important for my game.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it wasn't essential for my game, but it made my path more difficult for sure. And I had to work a lot harder because of the losing. So, I mean, I definitely wanted to win, and I tried.
Yeah, you put up a valiant effort, that's for sure.
And the crowd loves to root for an underdog, so it was fun to watch as well.
Yeah, but it was when that happens, when you get the glimpse of hope and it's taken away, it's extra disappointing.
You mentioned that you are pretty good at challenges. Was there any maybe post-merge, just because we're talking about it, that you might have thrown or felt if I didn't get this, it might be better than maybe getting it? I feel okay with my game.
So typically how I approach early post-merge challenges is I try, like I don't automatically throw it. I try to see how I am at it. And if I feel like there's a good chance I can win it, then I might go for it, depending on how I am in the social hierarchy and like what my current threat level is. So each challenge I'd kind of test the waters, and I wasn't feeling like I was going to win any of them. So, and I also felt like I shouldn't win them either. So I didn't have the like motivation and focus like I did in the pre-merge challenges, because I think motivation is a huge factor in challenges. That doesn't mean you're going to win it, but your chances of winning increase when you really want to win it.
Yeah.
And I think you could see that in my performance in the pre-merge challenges. Like I performed way better pre-merge than post. But honestly, I didn't want, so like, did I throw them? No. But did I want to win them? Not really until final 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my game plan, was to win final 5 immunity and final 4 immunity.
We
was the plan.
We got that confessional from you being like, I'm not winning any of these challenges. I'm like trying, but you know, it might be better off that I'm not. So yeah, I think you did well in the challenges, and not winning them might have saved you a couple rounds.
I think it did. Yeah, I think it would have been, maybe winning 1 would have been okay, but even then, I think it was best.
I mean, Garsow wins 2, and he's like, all right, we gotta go.
Yeah. And then he gives you the legacy. So maybe it worked out for you that he won 2, right? Because then you get the legacy, which like then saves you at final 6. I mean, and that was one of my questions. We see you pre-merge, you say, you know, Austin is my guy on this swap tribe. Like, he is what I'm going to focus on. Was it that groundwork that you think led to you getting that idol at final whenever he goes? Or is it other stuff that also happened that we didn't get to see post merge or into, you know, the mini sections?
I think it was all the groundwork, because I didn't. Okay, so the very first vote, I could read the room. I knew that Danny wasn't going. So, however, I felt at that point it would be best for me to just follow through with what I had told Andrew and Lydia and Austin, what I was going to do. And I felt okay taking the risk to deal with those consequences rather than just voting to be on the right side of the vote. And I think that turned out to be the right decision, because when we swapped, me being able to say I was the one who voted to keep you, not Andrew, I think that really helped him warm up to me and want to work with me. Yeah. So, and I mean, I put a lot of effort into like trying to get to know him as a person too. Which I feel that the type of player he is, that's important to him, to have some sort of connection with a person rather than it just he's not just a game bot.
Yeah. And that's so true, because like we see Garsow's journey through this. Like, the immediate gut reaction for him is, if I were to go out, I would give it to one of my Trinity Falls people. I have built those relationships with them. They're all good. And the only other big connection outside of that was Kylie. And then you guys get swapped together. You make an admission. And now, because of the work you did, you put yourself on that list over everyone else, because everyone else did vote him out. they actively made sure he was going out. So why would he want to help them? It helps you. And like that's the weird thing of like your challenge performance, the work that you did, like all the things you did, you got rewarded for it because like of the work that you did. And everyone else, unfortunately, that you were aligned with suffered because of it. You get to use that advantage. And it sort of almost is like that cherry on top for the opposition to be like, well, okay, we were right to target Karen. Like, look, the jury loves Karen. They gave her advantages. Like, you have all this stuff going on.
And
But-
everyone else did your dirty work and got rid of all his allies too.
Yeah. No one's gonna hate Karen on the jury. But I would say that's a credit to your game. Like you played well from the bottom, but you also played well in that, like, you played well in the bottom, you played well when you were in control, and you played well when you sort of just needed to have your hands clean of it. Like there wasn't anything you were doing any given round that was like hurtful to your game, other than like maybe, and then that's the thing, is like, do you push for Kylie to stay, but does it actually happen? And it's like, do you push for Ashley to stay? Does that actually happen? Odds are no, based off what we see.
I think the biggest mistake in the game was the Lex vote. And I think you even included it in the episode where I said, no, we need to get rid of Austin, Moorhead, or Maddie right now. And then Zucker, and then Lex.
Yeah, you do. You were like the lone person who was sort of like, okay, I get everything that's happening. Yeah, all you are mad. This is a future problem for my game. Like, can we just when we all talked about last night? It was great. It was great last night. It put me in a great position. Can we keep that?
The thing is that Kylie was dead set on this happening. And at this point, Kylie was my closest ally because so when we swapped on the tribe, I wasn't sure how close she wanted to work with me, because it's not like we pre-gamed or even really knew that that we were going to play this game together. So I didn't know where her head was at, and we hadn't been able to talk because we've been on separate tribes. But the first Zoom call we had, she told me absolutely everything, and I could tell she wasn't holding back and that she completely trusted me. So because of the way she was acting in that call, I was like, okay, that I completely trust her too. So I was in a difficult position disagreeing with her there, because I also think Kylie's a really good player. I've seen her play. I think she doesn't play very much, but every game she plays, she does very well in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's ever been a pre-merge boot, and she's won 2 games or maybe one. I don't know. She's good. I think she's really good. So, and maybe this is just like where kind of a lack of self-confidence comes in, is I didn't feel like I had the confidence to stand up and say, like, no, Kylie, we need to wait, like, calm down. So I just decided to trust her because I think she's really good, and I don't know, maybe it would work out. But I mean, as we see what happens, it didn't work out for a lot of people that way. But
yeah,
but at the same time, even say it happened differently, from what I've heard, nobody was planning to go past Final 5 with me. So does it really matter? I still need to win Final 5 immunity.
Yeah, you got a point. Well, and so you just mentioned your like order of operation, right? It's going to be Austin M or Maddie, one or the other, then Zucker, and then Lex. Why do those people need to go before Lex to help your game? I guess would be, I mean, obviously there's the Simmons of it all, but is there anything else underneath that?
So I feel like if you have too many people on the outs and you leave them around for too long and never, take care of them or weaken them, then they can start to become a powerful force. So I didn't have a close relationship with Maddie or Austin. And those are just other options for Simmons to go other places. So cutting one of them, I think, benefits me because they're still going to be close enough to Simmons that they can kind of be another vote for me through Simmons. And then, but without him being too powerful. And then Zucker, I've never played with Zucker. I had no relationship with Zucker. And then he spilled the beans on the call about the Lex vote causing all the chaos. So Zucker can go for all I care. Although, I will say Zucker spilled the beans after I wanted to get rid of him. So that just like confirmed everything that I thought. I was like, this guy sucks. He doesn't. I think there's like a screenshot where I'm just like, so, but just the way that the dynamics were going into the mini, there was no way Zucker and I were ever going to be like close allies, because I mean, if you haven't played with anybody and you have relationships with other people, we were just on opposite sides at that point. Maybe in a long game post-merge, sure. But at that point, like the way it was, like he needed to go because he was never going to be like Team Karen.
Yeah, that makes sense. And through the day one mini, we hear a lot from people saying we have to worry about the swapped 3 Fumo, which is Maddie, Austin, and Simmons. We hear Austin say it, we hear Kylie say it, but there's no real move for it. And as a viewer, you can see it's the exile people, right? Andrew and Zucker that are kind of like, well, let's like wait it out.
Let's like not.
Yeah. Where were you if people mentioned that to you after the merge? Like, let's go for these 3. I know you mentioned them, but let's say Lex goes, right? So your whole order is kind of out the window. Are you pushing for it, or are you know what I mean, throwing out another name instead?
I still wanted Zucker gone. I was like really anti-Zucker. Not for anything that he did or said, you know. Well, no, it was for stuff he did, but like this is not personal, is what I'm trying to say.
Game wise. It's all game.
Yeah. But Zucker was just one of those people for me that was just like a thorn in my side. Like, why is he still here? He is not doing anything for me. He's causing problems. Nobody seems to want to vote him out though, but whose side is he on? Like, I couldn't figure that out. Like, why is he still here?
I feel like that's probably what people were saying about you, right? Why, like, how is Karen still here? Like, who is with Karen? But so many people were, to a point. Another question I have, I guess, which goes into the final 6 craziness, is we see a lot of the Zooms that happened before. And when we talked to Andrew during his exit, he says he wasn't really sure who you were going to vote for. He thought it was Maddie, but when you guys talked, you guys never really said who to vote for. So that's why he throws it on Maddie. Had you told him who you were voting for and he doesn't go home, do you think that your placement changes in the game? Or do you think you still end up going at 5 regardless?
I think I probably still end up going at 5 because I don't think Andrew really wanted me to go, but I mean, like I said, Zucker's not Team Karen. At that point, Simmons made a move to get me out, so he's obviously anti-Karen now. And whoever stays, Maddie or Austin, is on Simmons' side and not mine. So that's 3, and that's enough.
Yeah.
And so Andrew's probably just going to jump on the bandwagon because it's what Andrew does. I love Andrew, by the way.
Hey, he didn't that round and bit him in the butt. So
No, Andrew was great, and I've loved kind of seeing his game because I think he was doing a lot more than people realized. Also, Zucker is one of those that was doing a lot more than people realized. Like I was so confused about him when the game was happening, but afterwards I was like, oh, he was doing stuff. Oh, okay.
Those are the scary ones, right? Well, I just have one question. One last question. we can hand it over to the host if they have any before Facebook. But we see in this last round, you don't win immunity, which was your plan, and you throw out the classic, I have an idol. Why go that route? I guess I'm always interested in why people choose to play that, I guess, last ditch effort.
Why not?
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I didn't think it would work. Honestly, I didn't watch the episode, so I don't know if you included me saying that.
I think it's obvious from the episode you don't think it works, or it would work. So yeah.
So I didn't think it would work. However, I thought it was worth a shot because I thought, well, maybe people are tired enough at this point because
you should watch that because you got Simmons spiraling.
Oh, really?
He goes into like a 4-minute. I don't even know if we showed the full 4 minutes.
I didn't show the whole 4 minutes. He's in confessional. It has to be for 6+ minutes, and 4 of it is just if Karen has an idol, then maybe I throw my vote on Maddie. So if it goes to Rock, we're safe. Yeah. Oh my God, you had him spiraling.
He had 3 different plans of like, do we just vote Karen? Do I vote Maddie? And then like Austin gets rocked out because I'm willing to lose Austin, not Maddie. And then he just goes, you know what? F it. If she has an idol, I go
Karen.
home.
She doesn't have an idol.
Yeah, so that's what I was hoping for, is that maybe people were tired enough and like you're getting so close to the end and people don't want to go out at 5 because you're so close. So I thought that if I made them paranoid, maybe they would turn on themselves. So I thought it was worth a shot.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities because you did have the legacy advantage. Zucker had just played an idol, so there is a possibility that there could have been a replanted idol out there. So like I wouldn't have just fluffed it off, but at the same time it's that like last ditch effort that you have in the back of your head being like, all right, Karen's throwing out she has an idol and she knows she's going because she stayed last vote. So I don't think it was a bad plan by any means.
So yeah, then when we were in tribal and Simmons was like, well, if I get idled out, I get idled out. I was like, oh no, he's come to peace with that. And I'm like, well, that's not good. So that's why I was like, well, I'm not necessarily voting for Simmons.
Yeah.
Maybe there's just another last effort to get people to freak out and maybe switch their votes. But
yeah.
But hey, going out swinging is how you need to do it in these games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You never know what'll work. I feel like I would not want to have the regret of, oh, maybe that would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sometimes it does, but no, I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I know like we had Andrew on last time and he talks about how like wherever you've done in past games, it shouldn't be like it shouldn't implicate what happens in the current game. But I'm gonna continue to give you so much credit for like being the only winner on the cast. It's so easy for anyone to just throw, well, she's won before. It's our time now. Let Karen go. But you worked your ass off and you were able to get to 5th place. You got to the second day of the main. Like you were within like a grasp of the end game. And I think it's just, if above all else, it should confirm to you just how, if it hadn't already, just how good of a player you are.
Mm-hmm. I'm good on questions if we want to move over to Facebook.
Cool. We are moving over to Facebook. And the first question is from Luke. And Luke asks, what was your favorite challenge and why?
So probably the one that I won because I won. The only one that I like. The flip cup challenge, except I have a problem with the way you guys run it. About what is it? I feel like it should just be points. There's none of this like eliminating players. Like you win the point. But it's your game, you know.
We take suggestions for sure. So we will definitely put that in the bank. And we've run this like several different ways as well.
Yep.
So like we've done point-based rounds and all that jazz. So yes, we will.
We'll probably end up going back to that.
It could have been interesting had it been point-based and like all 9 people stayed.
Yeah, I forget. There was at one point where I was like, oh, if it was run this other way, we would be winning. And like I didn't want to lose.
Right. Like we had a big debate about it, about how was like the most fair if we were dead set on the elimination method, what was the most fair way of doing the elimination? Because we're like, well, if you let the losing team just pick, they're obviously just going to keep picking their worst person. If you let the winning team pick, they're going to obviously just keep picking the best player, and that's boring. So we're like, PowerPoint slide.
I can't believe that I didn't get eliminated. Like every time I was like, "Ooh."
But yeah, good challenges either way. The next question or questions, I didn't read it fully, is from Lex. The one and only Queen of Yasawa Islands, Karen. I was so sad to see you go when you did. If only you actually had an idol and flipped this game upside down. Playing alongside such an icon as yourself made my experience so much fun. Even if you clearly did your homework on me and made a compilation video, and if only I watched Kylie's and your podcasts. You are truly a hell of a player and a force in these games. If there's ever a survivor, wait.
What?
Okay, I misread how he wanted me to approach this, but if there's ever a survivor, child baby,
Chile.
I didn't know which way he wanted it to go. I've heard both ways. Chile. Oh, Survivor Chile. Okay. Yeah. You best be applying. This makes so much more sense now. Karen Stan and Osa Sista forever. Now, let's get down to business. For my question, what was your strategy going into this game as a former winner, and what were signs during the game you needed to quickly adapt your strategy?
Okay. So my strategy going in was to not be a threat. Like I knew I was a threat, but just like anything to lower the threat level. So I know that contradicts me going in and winning the first challenge and then beasting it at Flip Cup. But those were decisions I made in the moment to adapt to the situation. Versus just sticking to what I had decided to do. But also the other strategy is just kind of Sandra style, like as long as it's not me, I'll vote anyone out. Whether because in the past I've had issues of just being too loyal and throwing away my game for people when like why? Which not why. It's nice, but it's not good for winning. So
yep.
But I just wanted to have like baseline relationships with everybody and then kind of strategically pick who I needed to be closest to. And I did a bad job the first day, like a really bad job. So, but I made up for it. I kicked it into gear, and I'm pleased with the work that I did.
Yeah. Definitely post-dentist Karen was a different Karen in this game.
Yeah. I just like I had some things going on in my life.
Yeah.
I was also like just like not in a good place mentally, like depressed. So that makes it harder to connect with people and talk to people. So I think I was quieter the first day or two, and then like the tooth thing happened and I was just God.
Hey, it turned around. So it's almost like you have to thank the tooth thing for happening.
Yeah. I mean, when stuff like that happens, like I don't feel like talking to people. I just want to be by myself. But you know, you have to. But also, nobody wanted to talk to me either. So I was just like, oh gosh. So yeah, it was a bad weekend. Bad start. But also, I think it was a fun experience in a way because I have never played from the bottom like that before. So it kind of challenged me, and like I tried really hard. And so I'm glad to see that my work did pay off later in the game, and then my reads were pretty right. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to read everyone all the time, but like, I know around like final 7, for example, there was a conversation I had with Simmons where I was like, I thought you might be trying to shank me there. And he's like, oh no, of course not. But I was right. He was thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah, he absolutely was.
Just to add on to that,
Yeah.
my other strategy is like, obviously nobody wanted to go to the end with me. I was hoping that along the way I would find people who expressed interest in that, but as time went on, that wasn't happening. So I just figured I'll just win final 5 and 4 immunity, which I've done that in games like 4 times before. So it's not an unattainable goal to win final 5 and 4 for me.
Oh my God, I would have loved a Lydia Karen final 2. That would have been killer because you both are huge threats in DCP. So like that would have been a killer final 2.
I mean, you guys know this because you watched my confessionals, but it wasn't included in the episode. But I was thinking about trying to blow up the tribe and do something crazy to try to keep Lydia.
Yeah, I did your confessional that round.
Yeah. So I was trying to think of ideas for elaborate lies that could maybe, target Danny or Maddie or Brittley. I was like, do I do a Girls Alliance lie? But then I went back and looked up Brittley, and somebody wanted to do a Girls Alliance in her season and she wasn't about it. So I was like, that's not believable. We can't do that. I was like, that's such a shame.
Research. Nice.
Yeah. That's such a shame because I feel like I could have got her there. But if anyone else had done their research, they would know that was not something Brittley was about.
It was something that this cast could have done better with, but for many reasons. But we shouldn't be surprised that Karen did her homework. She made a whole compilation video of specific clips of Lex lying in the game.
I'm so sad that I spent a couple hours going through Lex footage, and I was time stamping it, and so I had clips prepared to go to Austin Garsow with. If the time came for us to try to vote out Lex, but Brittley just really didn't want to work with me. Although we wouldn't have needed Brittley then. I don't know. It would just... Kylie was confident enough that Lex and Garsow were going to keep me regardless, so there was no need to try to flip it on Lex if they were going to get rid of Brittley, because at that point Brittley's not good for my game anyway if she won't even team up in the minority. So but that would have been fun for the viewers had that conversation happen, because I was ready for it.
Yeah, it's why I wanted to bring it up. But speaking of the Lydia of it all, the next question is from Lydia. Karen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It was a true delight to connect with you through this game. You are clearly a force to be reckoned with and a DCP all-star for the ages. Out of all the places you've traveled, where have you found the best cuisine?
I love food, so that's a very hard question. So to keep it slightly short, I went to Germany a bunch when I was a kid for bowling tournaments, and we never had a bad meal in Germany. But I also haven't been there as an adult, so I don't know. I love British Indian food, so you can have amazing food in the UK. You can find good food pretty much anywhere, like New York City. Oh my God, amazing. And while I wouldn't say Chilean cuisine is that great, sorry, Chile, but there's a really good gourmet food scene here that is attainable to, I guess, someone like me. Where I just don't feel like I could be involved and go to the restaurants that I do in the US that I do here, just for affordability. And just I don't know, the population here is so much smaller, so it's I don't know, things are more attainable, or like if you're good at something, you can stand out and actually make it. Whereas, I mean, there's like 19 million people here, and there's what, like 330 million there. Like you're not making it there, even if you're. Well, maybe not. Maybe you will, but I don't know. So.
Yeah. But Lydia, I hope you take some of those suggestions. The next question is from Kylie. Karen, I'm so glad that we finally got to really play together. It was a blast and very memorable. LOL. Which of our co-hosts between Robbie, Kevin, and Sheldon do you wish had been in this game? So I guess they would be
only
besides Robbie, we'll pretend that Kevin and Sheldon have played.
I would love to. Okay, sorry, Sheldon, but I would love to actually play a game with Kevin. I played one with him before, but it was not a serious game at all. So we didn't talk about it. But like DCP is serious. So like I love Kevin's a great strategist, and I love listening to his insights on Survivor and Big Brother. I just don't like Big Brother as much, but so I think, and Kevin seems pretty chill. So I think he would be a very interesting person to play with. He should apply.
He should apply. Hey, never know. When our applications are out, we accept everyone and anyone who wants a chance. So, Kevin, if you're listening to this, when our apps come out, apply. Okay, next question is from Michael Simmons. Karen, I'm very appreciative that we started on the same tribe and were able to work together most of the time instead of against each other. I respect your game and thought you lived up to your winner threat level. My question, if our cast was on the next season of Real Survivor, would you do better, worse, or the same? And why?
So I guess that's an interesting question, because if that were to happen, say, do we already know our DCP pass? Am I still the winner of Yasawa? And then in that case, does winning an online minigame matter? I don't know. Actually, okay. I can't wait to play a live game, because I feel like I've kind of figured out the online games. I think my weakness still lies in social, but I think, it's like greatly improved since I started, and it's not a huge problem, I should say.
Right.
I just think it can be improved, and it could be a little better in places, but I just get a little socially overwhelmed sometimes, and I like to just, I don't know. Right. Whereas on an island, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I don't know if I would be better at it in that case, or if I would be cranky.
Because now we're adding no food, so
and you wouldn't have me and McKenna out there. You would have Jeff Probst and an actual challenge team on standby.
Yeah, so I don't know how I would do on one of those games, because I do get cranky when I'm tired, and mostly when I'm tired, and like usually if somebody's irritating me or something, I'll just remove myself from the situation, because it's not worth the argument. But if you got someone like chopping wood in the middle of the night and I just fell asleep, like I'm going to yell at you.
Yes, Simmons, don't chop wood in the middle of the night.
Oh my God. So I don't know. I think that would be really interesting. But also I feel like we all could have gotten to know each other so much better. So maybe things would have been different. Things would definitely be different.
That's such a thing to think about, though. Man.
It's such a good question.
Yeah, I wonder how that would be, because I would have had more time to get to know Maddie, and maybe that would have made a difference. All of those things would make a difference. But
yeah, because I don't know if it really was talked about at all within the episode itself, but like in between mini day 1 and mini day 2, like you guys talked a little bit. You both had stuff going on that night, but you ended up like reading her blog. And I just remember seeing in our prod chat with you, you're just like, oh, why weren't we working with each other this whole time? We have so many things in common.
Yeah, she seems really cool. So I think, like maybe we're not the type of people that immediately click, because we were on a Zoom last night, and she mentioned, we were talking about how our first Zoom together, like we just didn't connect much. But I think some people it just takes longer to connect with, because I mean, I would say like Austin Garsow, for example, I wouldn't name him as somebody that immediately I was like feeling this big connection, but I wanted that to be there, so I put in the effort for it to be there, and then it was.
Right. And then maybe in this like 26-day format,
there's way more time.
You have so much more time to get past that first interaction.
Exactly.
So maybe you do better.
Maybe.
I mean, 5th place isn't anything that you get to finale. You get to finale episode at least by getting the 5th.
Yeah.
So I hope that somewhat answered your questions, Mike, when you listen to this bag. But the next question is from Ashley of Pervivor and Big Brother. Karen, we finally got to play a game together. Unfortunately, not for long enough. One of the best blessings to come out of getting involved in the org community is having gotten the opportunity to meet you. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey and letting me be a part of yours. Questions. Out at Final 5, exactly where I feared you would go out, but that's an incredible placement given the size of the target you were carrying all game. In a perfect world, what do you think was the optimal Final 5 for you? Do you think there was any setup that allowed you to make it further aside from just comping out?
Okay, so maybe ideal Final 5 would be Kylie, Ashley, even though I know Ashley didn't really want to go to the end with me, but okay, I know. Kylie, Lydia, Andrew, and either Garsow or did I say Ashley yet?
You did.
Either Garsow or Ashley. Oh, wait. Okay, so Kylie,
Ashley,
Lydia, Andrew.
You're in
Kylie,
5.
Lydia, Andrew, and either Ashley or
Garsow. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I will say you appropriately did not have Michael Simmons in that 5, and I think that was very important there. Like, I even think in a world where, like, if Simmons was able to go out, like, 7 or 6, and you still had Austin and or Maddie around, like, I think there's a world where you're able to potentially get one of them to, like, be more confident in going to the end with you instead of being like, nope, this is where she has to go.
Yeah, or maybe, I don't know, maybe having Simmons in that Final 5 isn't a bad thing as long as there's no Austin or Maddie there with him.
Yeah.
It's like you need one or the other.
Yeah, because if he's alone, then maybe he's a bigger target than me. And that's like,
Yeah. And then her other question is, and more important question, out of all of the famous cats throughout history, which famous cat is your favorite and why?
Okay, I've been thinking about this for a long time. And I don't really know the answer, which is like disappointing because there's just, I mean, Socks Clinton, I guess.
All right.
I love it. Okay, so our last few questions. Next one is from Greg. Karen, what would be your ideal platonic date night with Macedonian Jesus himself?
Platonic date night with Macedonian Jesus.
Yeah, you gotta give him the works because he saved you so many times.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like Macedonian Jesus is a survivor god. We talk about the survivor gods. Maybe a beach meal of a risotto, because it's got to be rice and wine.
Ooh, all right.
I like it. What a good night. And then the final Facebook question outside mine, obviously, is from Dr. Carrie Underwood. Please suggest a Stromae song for happy times. And if Stromae were a fun cocktail, which would he be?
Okay. Stromae is awesome. So, for those who don't know, he's a Belgian, I guess, singer artist. He does like dancing music, which sounds like it would just be mindless, meaningless. But his lyrics are super like profound, and I think he is one of the best musical artists of the 21st century. And he's a genius. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong with any of them. But I don't know. So, like a couple months ago, I had to do a music video for a game, and I had to choose a song. And like, I'm not a dancer. I do not have rhythm. But Stromae music makes me just want to dance. And I feel like the most important thing in a dance music video is passion. So you got to find a song that just like makes you want to dance and like, ah. So, I don't know if anyone follows me on Instagram. I barely ever post anything, but then I just randomly posted like videos of me just like dancing. Just like out of character, but I guess if you know me really well, Carrie knows my Stromae dancing.
She just nodded her head. Yes, can confirm. She knows.
I'm really good. Yeah, I'm really good at it. So to choose one song though. Anyway, the song that I did that dance to is called like AVF, which is I don't. It's not even a released song of his. But yeah, he is fantastic. You should look him up and.
All right.
Okay.
Thank me later.
Will do. And now it's my turn. Mr. Positivity is back, and I want you to say something positive you took away from your All-Stars experience.
All right. I've probably played 20 games at this point, and this has been the best game I played. So something positive that I took out of this experience. It kind of like brought back a little hope in humanity, I guess. I lose hope in humanity sometimes, and just I'm like everybody sucks. So I wasn't sure. You never know with a Survivor game if you're going to have a good or bad experience, because sometimes it's really fun and you make some friends and you're okay with how things end, and other times it's traumatic and puts you in a bad spot mentally. So this one, like I feel like I worked hard. I had to overcome a lot of things. My reads were fairly right. Not like I got everything, but I don't know. I had some really good victories. It was fun. I felt like people weren't taking things personally. I was okay with the way I went out. And then the reception I got in Ponderosa when I entered that chat was just so welcoming, and people were so nice. And it was just such a fun group of people to meet and work with. And I'm so glad that the group chat is still a little active, and people join the Zooms to watch the episodes. And I just had a really good time. The people were the best part.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna hand it back to McKenna for Ian's questions.
All right. So, who from Yasawa Islands would you like to replace a current All-Star Yasawa Islands player? So, Jeremy, Corey, or Austin Moorhead, and they would be on the opposite tribe from you because they all started on the other tribe.
Okay, so Jeremy I felt was irrelevant for my game, so I don't really know either way. Austin Moorhead was like the thorn in my side that I didn't realize was there until then I noticed it. I'm like, oh, that was annoying. But so I would probably, but with who? I'd probably get rid of Austin Moorhead. And then replace him not with Ryan.
Well, you've got David, you've got Annie.
David would have been fun.
Or Dan, who you had to cut in the second round.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe David or Dan.
Carlo.
Carlo. I love Carlo.
Yeah. See, you did have options.
Definitely Carlo.
Okay. And then the other one.
Your DCP Mount Rushmore, 4 people, it could be yourself, who you think are like the spearheads of DCP, and excluding their all-star game, or like excluding the results past your boot.
Yeah. So nothing from
Final 4
Final
on.
5.
Okay, so I am not the most knowledgeable about DCP history, but I feel like I personally feel the All-Stars game is very relevant to who makes it onto the thing.
Yeah.
So given who is in the final 5, so I'm looking at their placement in their first game in final 5. You made it to at least final 5, right?
Well, final 4, because you were the 5th.
Final 4. Okay, right. So where did Austin Moorhead go out in his second game?
He got 3rd place in Yasawa, and he got 4th place in Exile.
And so also the worst he can do now is 4th place.
Yep.
I feel like you have to put him up there.
All right.
Okay. So you got Austin.
I mean, we can debate players, game styles, or whatever, but everybody has different preferences, whatever. But I feel just based on that, you have to put him up there. I would put myself up there, but am I not allowed to?
No, you're allowed to.
Yes.
Okay.
It's your Mount Rushmore.
I think you're like the only person to do that. Right?
You've also been consistently on other people's Mount Rushmore, so I feel like
I think it's deserved.
Yeah.
Okay, so so Simmons got 3rd place.
Yeah.
And the worst now he can do is 4th place. So I would put him up there.
Okay. So one more.
And who else? Maybe another winner. Like, who was the best winner? A winner of a long game, maybe, because long games are harder
We
to
have
win.
Alex Cousins, who is Exile Island, and then Jonathan from the VL. If you've watched the VL, he won Monte Carlo Kylie season.
Okay. Who do you guys think is
It's not our list.
Answer that.
It's not our list.
I'm gonna say not Jonathan.
Alex.
Just because I think that will bother Jonathan.
Okay, so Alex Cousins it is. There you have it. That was fun, Lily.
All right. Well, we like to end every exit with the same question, and that is, if you could sum up your game in one word, what would it be and why?
One word.
It's a big ask.
Decent.
That's it. That's it. That's all we're going to give ourselves here.
Decent. Well, all right.
Okay, decent.
One word.
Decent it is. And
All
it was a
right.
decent game at that. and that's being very
Humble.
very low level of me talking
Yeah.
about the game. It was a very impressive
Wonderful
game.
play-
It was
she-
a deserved game, and
She just placed herself on her own Mount Rushmore, but yet calls her game decent. Alrighty, Karen. Well, thank you so much for playing, and thank you for coming back as our only winner. You put up one hell of a fight. And listeners, please continue to watch our stuff. We've got 2 more episodes left. We've got a bunch of postseason content coming at you. We've got 4 more exit interviews. We've got a draft update. We've got so much more in the pipeline. So stay tuned. Goodbye.